recording. I am great. Good job panicking. So the chair. Who here did not, by show of hands, who did not get my email yesterday?
What email?
Great, good answer. So I emailed everyone yesterday. Hopefully everyone read it. It was basically like, hey, I know I'm putting you guys under a lot of pressure. I believe you can excel under pressure because crushing coal is how you make diamonds. All right? I know that the project might feel a little rushed, but I will remind everyone that Project 1 is all about revising your first 3 assignments, which means that if you complete Project 1, your grade in this assignment will go up. Now, before we actually start class, I'll ask, by show of hands, how many people would like to show up Friday and do this then? Who wants the deadline moved to this Friday?
Raise your hands. Do it.
All right. Well, I see about half the classes raise their hands. I'm going to refresh this page. I see that roughly half the class has actually turned something in. So I will extend the deadline to Friday. Those of you who turned in your stuff today, you have the chance to improve upon it. Ask me questions and say, look at my garbage, help, please, help. Okay, that out of the way. Today is essentially a work day. There's going to be a very, very small lecture to start us off, but otherwise, attendance is mandatory this Friday because I'm extending the deadline, and Friday will be a critique day, which means you won't actually have to do any work. You'll just have to sit and listen to me talk about your chairs and listen to each other talk about your chairs. Is that all right?
Yep.
Great. A wonderful mumble of affirmation.
Yeah!
Now, our itty-bitty lecture is going to be about students 1 and 2. This is student 1. Hi, I'm student 1, and this is my chair project. I did the chair in about 2 hours. Didn't take me a lot of trouble. Render looks fine. Wireframe seems okay. Then after I finished the wooden chair, I moved on to the other chair. Here's my wireframe. Gave you a couple of views. That's it. So, if that were my presentation, what would be your critique? Yes.
You could, student 1 could have removed the bottom, or well, like the insides of the wheels as to save on some polygons.
That's very true.
He could have also
Cycle through these a bit more.
They could have also removed the like bottom part of the of like the little pole at the very bottom.
Yeah, I agree. This bottom part down here.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Can you go back to the wooden chair?
Yeah, I'll go back to the wooden chair. Look at how good my render is.
Looks like the grid.
My grid's fine. Don't worry about it.
Seems like there's
Not
an
the
awful
grid.
lot of.
So yeah, the wireframe is a mess. This is just angons everywhere. There's
I don't think you
far
added
too many
something to the chair.
polygons. Pardon?
I don't think you added something to the chair.
Yeah, I didn't
I'm
actually.
missing the front ledge.
Missing a whole lot. There's no frame here. There's actually no frame in the back, but I didn't turn in all of the views of my wooden chair. I only have the one image.
Is there the bump in the wooden chair?
Pardon?
Is there the bump in the wooden chair?
Yeah, it's got this bump in the middle, but it looks very flat in the render because I can't see it from the side. So, besides the stuff that I'm actually showing you, what about my presentation of the stuff I'm showing you? I'm student 1, here's my image.
Is there any bachelor power sheet?
It is, it very much is. If you wanted to present this a lot better, you could, because this chair actually doesn't look terrible. There's definitely a couple of things wrong with it. The armrests are a bit long. None of the fluff at the top doesn't link up to the back. The back is actually split up into 2 pieces. You can see it cut if I zoom in. right back here. It doesn't look like it's all one piece. If I go to the last image with the wheel, why is my wheel and the leg of the chair one object? And why isn't it attached to the rest of my chair? Lots of little things. But in terms of my presentation, I'm student 1 and this is my stuff, that sucks. I would give this entire student 1 probably a 60. Despite having some really nice renders and doing about half the project and having a really nice chair. That's student 1. Here's student 2. Hi, I'm student 2. This is my chair project. I had a lot of fun using the bend tool to make the back of my chair. I've rendered it out in such a way that it matches the references because I found that I could set it up that way in Maya. I've changed the textures so that you can tell the chair apart from the background. It's still lit with the default sky dome, but I plan to go forward and create a proper lighting setup. But because I spent so much time on the first chair, I haven't completed the second chair, and this is where I am so far. Thoughts on student 2?
Them adding the walls really helped just make it look a lot better than just having the floor.
Okay. Anything else?
Them matching the original image that the chair space saw is very well done. Because you can show both the front and back of the chair in the same.
Yep.
And the picture that you showed before, the chair just looks like very lower. No, that one.
Yeah.
It just looks way lower than it does in the other ones.
It does, doesn't it? And it's because it's posed a bit farther away from the camera.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there's definitely still some work that could be improved on this chair. There's a couple of weird lines of topology sort of in the middle. There's this density of edge loops around the frame at the back. That could be fixed. But overall, this chair is a very nice chair. And this chair is unfinished, but you can see that there's a lot of effort put into it. So, what about the presentation of student 2?
Can you go through the pictures again?
Yeah.
I feel like the presentation's pretty good.
Yeah.
Other than like in some of the photos, there's like this weird like shiny thing.
Yeah, there's a bit of artifacting here and there.
Yeah, but I think that's more the computer than them.
So, that is true. This student would also get a 60. But, if I presented this student's work as, hi, I'm student 2 and this is my stuff, you'd probably get a 50 or a 40 for not finishing half the project. But, if you go into, I really like using the bend tool. I had a lot of difficulties with Maya because of A, B, C, and D. I set up my renders in such a way that makes it easier to present. If you go through all of the little steps to talk about the stuff we talked about in class, and go a little bit farther and show that you are willing to put in the work, you get a higher grade. Therefore, when you present your stuff, don't say, yeah, I just did it in 2 hours, I haven't slept in 3 days, the works, I know that there's a lot of stuff that I need to improve about it, but yeah, that's my chair. Don't say any of that. Instead say, these are the things that I succeeded at. Look at how cool my stuff is. I know that it's garbage, but I'm not going to say that it's garbage. Does that make sense? You want to present it like it's solid gold. And you know what? I'm an idiot. I might fall for it. You might get a higher grade. Also, if you talk about the bend tool and set it up in such a way that is pretty and you show something that looks like this, I will say, oh, you're probably going to revise it down the line. I'll give you a slightly higher grade to incentivize you to actually finish the damn project. If, like student 1, you say, yeah, I don't know, I'm done, this is my chair, I am far less inclined to give you adequate critique, because in my head, you're like, oh, you're already done. Great, that's your finished project. Your finished project's a C. Everyone understand how presentation helps get you a higher grade?
Sir, yes, sir.
Good, 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 good. So, today is a work day. I intend you to internalize all of the stuff that I talked about today. Let me know if you have any problems with your chair whatsoever. Go. Yes.
So it's like, are we supposed to present it in how we post, or are we gonna actually present it?
So, when we go to critiques, what'll happen is, I will open up the discussion board. And just like we did with the crate, I'll open this up. And I will say, you, Grayson, talk to me about your chair. And Grayson will say, hi, I'm Grayson, that's my chair. And I will say, okay, everyone else, roast Grayson. And everyone will say, wow, look at that chair. There's X, Y, Z bad about it, there's A, B, C good about it. Otherwise, if I say, Grayson, present your chair, and Grayson says, well, the bend tool was an interesting thing, and Maya gave me these difficulties with the flare tool, and it crashed 3 or 4 times, and even though I haven't slept, I've really devoted my time to this outside of other classes. In that scenario, I will say, great, everyone else, what do you have to say about Grayson's chairs? And everyone will say, oh, look at the chairs, blah, 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 blah. And I will say, good, everybody give a round of applause, and we'll move on. So there's a small amount of presentation element, right? Once we move into project 1 with the art station stuff, I will have you stand up in the front of the class and you will say, here's all of my stuff. All right, and at that point, then you will actually be presenting. But for right now, just, you know, learn to present your stuff in a good way, in a good light. All right? There were other hands raised before I answered that question. Yes?
Are we able to color our chair?
Are you able to color your chair?
Yes, because I colored mine just because so you can see it better in the render.
So, as I showed in arbitrary student 2's images, yes, you're allowed to change the color of the chair so that it shows up better.
Yeah, I call it my chair.
I would prefer if you kept it grayscale, just because I don't want you to make it look like wood. I don't want you to make it look like plastic. Just normal grayscale so that I can see what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to take a look at this.
Okay. Before I go take a look at that, yes.
How do you change the color? Because I tried to do like the walls and floors, but I couldn't change the I couldn't figure out how to change the color.
How do you change the color? Yeah, we haven't really talked about that yet. Some people have gone quite a few light years ahead. Let's see if Maya wants to cooperate with me. I'll answer your question as soon as Maya opens up. Wow, Maya, you're fast today. So, this is a chair. Ooh, chair. Great. If I select a bunch of stuff on my chair, what I can do is go to the attribute editor on the far right. And I've got a bunch of stuff up here. Key cylinder 1, that's the bottom because it's made of a cylinder. Cylinder shape, bunch of other stuff. The one that matters is at the very end. There's probably going to be an arrow depending on how many actual stuff you have selected. And it'll probably say standard surface 1. If you click on standard surface 1, that is your material that is on the object. You can go in and play around with numbers. The important one, it's color. If you drag it forward, it'll become white. If you drag it backwards, it'll become black. If you click on color, you'll have a color wheel and you can make it whatever color you want. However, you will be keeping it black or white or gray because, please.
Thank you.
If you don't like that, you can also hold right click with your stuff selected, and down at the very, very bottom of this menu, you have assign existing material, assign favorite material, and assign new material. You can click assign new material, or just release right click, and it'll pop up this stuff. The ones that matter are Lambert and AI Standard. If you don't see AI Standard, don't worry about that. We'll talk about it next week. But Lambert is a good one. If I click Lambert, now I have this one, which looks slightly different, and it still has all of the color fun stuff. You can also click on this blue circle up the top, just under Arnold. It says Display Hypershade Window. If you click Display Hypershade Window, you get this happy little number. So you have your basic standard surface, that's the one that's already on there. You can play around with the color and see it on that little display circle. And you have the other materials that exist in your project. You can change them around. If I want to make this one red, I can make it red. Close the hypershader, know that it's Lambert 1. Select my object. Whoop. Hold right click, go down to the bottom, assign existing material, Lambert 1, it's red. Ta-da. Any other questions before I go look at what I definitely have to look at?
My skylight is number 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just crashed.
Maya just crashed. I love looking at Maya crash. What's happening?
So I'm kind of smoking this.
Yeah.
Show you the light.
You fool.
That's the wrong one.
Yes.
That is one.
Did you finish your chair?
Arnold likes Skydome.
Thank God they did
That is the easy one.
extension.
Starting next week when we start cleaning up our models, I will have one day of retopologizing, which you will enjoy and cringe at. One day of lighting and rendering, which you will hopefully be interested in. And then we'll start going into Unreal. Yes.
It's back.
It's back.
But I'm definitely gonna do some of this tomorrow because I have a
This is the test.
That's the seat.
It's pretty good. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Everything else goes well.
I'm gonna have a
So
full day
fencing
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Waking
I
up
don't-
at
it
8
keeps on
and
going.
not off the clock
Right.
until 8.
So make it hard. Hit one.
So I don't know if I'm
Rotate
gonna get any
it
work done
so that I can see it from this angle. All right. So
Friday.
you've got fencing.
Oh, I don't
It's
know.
extensive, but
I'm
it's
tired.
there.
I wanna go to sleep. I
Yeah.
have to go to a seminar on campus.
Smooth.
Just ignore it.
Oh, they're separate objects, aren't they?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
Right click. Go to face. Double click a face. They're not separate objects. What in God's name is happening?
Let's say.
Alrighty. Let's find out what's happening here. Okay. Well, given that I can select this face, that face has no fencing on it.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
So there's spaces in there that don't
what
exist.
that tells me is that you've got two of them.
Oh, Lord. That sucks, man. Alright, well, at
So
least I know.
try smoothing that one.
There might be more.
There might be more. There might be
There's more.
so many more.
Alright, well, you know what? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Is your object duplicated into your object? I do it all the time. I don't know how it happens.
Skydome.
Skydome.
Makes me upset.
Arnold.
Yup.
Render.
Yup.
Nothing. See, I try to do this stuff out of the way, but it's almost infinite. So like, even after it
I noticed 2 seconds in.
even after it gets to 100% render, it doesn't do fine. Like it doesn't. It can actually render. And then it's really You're good. Awesome.
Hello. Welcome. You missed the start of class where we decided the chair's doing Friday.
Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me.
Yup.
Oh.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was gonna say.
I'm sure that everyone that turned it in today is infuriated by that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's, I was up till 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Welcome to digital media. You will feel stressed, but calm down. All right. Don't worry.
basically finish the project.
Well,
Today.
then you've got 2 more days to finish it more, and then you've
Oh,
got
sick.
2 more weeks to finish it more. Because that's how this class is laid out. You know, how very interesting.
I maybe used it a
From your
tiny
laptop?
bit.
Yes.
Well, sure.
I use Blender before. Yeah, I use Blender a lot because it's free. It's way easier to use than mine. So I use that instead. Mine is a nightmare.
That's hard. No harm. Alright. Give me 5-10 minutes.
Okay. I mean, because I did turn in the renders for this chair,
Sure.
but I'm trying to get the render set back up to the right color so I
Mhm.
can get it and do like a reference image.
Yeah.
But render no work.
I'm also going to